Hello everyone, in this video we will discuss about Access Analyzer, which was a utility released in Vancouver release of ServiceNow, and it has also been upgraded in Washington release with some new features. This becomes a very interesting and required functionality when someone from your organization comes to you and says, I don't have access to this particular table or this particular record, and you would be able to see the reason why they don't have the access to that. Also, from the standpoint of least privilege principle, that the user should have only access to what actually he should have access to. This is a very great addition by ServiceNow. We will be discussing about all of this in this video. So stick around, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit that like button. We will be discussing all about Access Analyzer in depth, that what is Access Analyzer, why do we need that. We will see a demo, and then finally we will see what was released in Washington release, and we will see a demo of that as well. If you want to jump to any specific topic, the links are given in the description. First of all, what is Access Analyzer? So it's an application that helps the admins and developers to view the permissions for the selected user, role or group. So what does that mean is, if you want to see what kind of permission a particular user has, or a particular role has, or a particular group has. So Access Analyzer helps you in getting a comprehensive view of all of this at one page. And that is why it's really important functionality and was much needed functionality introduced in Vancouver release. Next is, why do we need Access Analyzer? As stated in the introduction, organizations can improve their security posture, identity governance, risk management, achieve their compliance goal, and understand who has access to what. For example, you have created a custom role for a team in your organization and they have the access to audit table, for example, and they don't need it anymore. Using Access Analyzer during a review period, you can see this particular role has access to this audit table. At that particular time in the past, it was supposed to have this role, but it doesn't require anymore this role. So please go ahead and remove this role. So this is a very great application where you could analyze all of these things and ensure people don't have excessive roles or even groups, or they don't have access to any of the table which they don't require. Now we will see a demo. How can we see that in ServiceNow? How can the admins or how can a developer can review all of that? But before that, if you haven't installed or upgraded this application in your system, please go ahead and do that. I will show you quickly how to do that in ServiceNow instance. In your ServiceNow instance, you have to go and type in plugins. Click on plugins under system definition, and here in search you have to search for Access Analyzer. Scroll down and you would see in the updates or in installed application that it has been upgraded. I have updated it to version 2.0.0. So if you're watching this video and want to do something, ensure that your Access Analyzer is installed on your ServiceNow instance or PDI, and it is installed to a version of 2.00 or above. Now let's go ahead in a demo of Access Analyzer. I will click on all, and here under the list of application you would see Access Analyzer on the top, and if you are not able to see, just type in Access Analyzer and you would be able to see that. Here you have to click on Analyze Permissions, and as soon as you click that, this page will open. It would say Analyze Access and Permissions, and here it will have few options or few text boxes which you can see here, and the first one is Analyze By. Here you have to select for what particular type you are checking the roles for or what access you are checking for. Here we have three options if you want to search by a user, by a group or a role. So if you want to check for some particular user, that what role they have on that particular table, you go ahead and select that. I will keep it as user for this demo. Here I have to select the username. I will select Able Tutor, which is a self-service user present out of the box in ServiceNow. Here in the rule type you have to give what kind of access you are checking. Is it on the table? Is it on client callable script include, UI page or REST endpoints? I will keep it as table, and here in the tables I will select the incident table. In the next field you can select a particular record on the incident table. If I click here, it will show me the existing records which are on the incident table. Or if you want to do it on a specific field, what kind of role they have on this particular field, you can do that as well. I will keep both of these fields as empty as of now. And here in the short description, I will give a short description of what kind of search I am doing. And we can say here able tutor incident evaluation. So this will help you in understanding when you come back in the future to search again for this able tutor, what access he used to have during this particular day. You will be able to search that easily. After this, I will click on evaluate access and it will take couple of seconds to load that. And here, once the permissions are evaluated, you would see what are the operations available on this table. So these are the ones which are out of the box. For example, create, read, write, delete, list, edit. So these are the operations which you can do on a table. Next is the overall access. So what kind of access this particular user has. So it doesn't have the report view access, add to list, and so on. However, this user has the read access, the create access, the write access, and the report on access. So this is what a self-service user on incident table has. Next is ACL. ACL specifies what are the ACLs created on this table for that particular operation. So for example, for read, there is an ACL already present out of the box and able tutor has passed that ACL, and that is the reason why able tutor is able to read the incidents. Similarly, for create write, it passed successfully and access was granted. If you see on the right hand side, it says access result legend and it says for passed, it means the access was granted. However, if you see for blocked, it means that there is an ACL defined. However, it has blocked that particular user, in our case able tutor, from using that operation. So able tutor would not be able to do report underscore view on the incident table because it has been blocked through some ACL. Next is skipped. So it means it did not evaluate on that particular ACL or any access analyzer or data filtration. So ServiceNow did not evaluate that. Next is undefined. That means there was no rule found for this particular operation. For example, list underscore edit. It wasn't able to find any rule for that, and that's the reason it says undefined. So these are the 4 access results legend which you need to take care of, or you need to understand why they are giving the results like this and what are the exact results. Next is access handlers. This is an out of the box functionality of ServiceNow. If you see here in FAQ, which cannot be modified by us and which is not available even for the admins. So when this access handler is ignored, only then the ACLs are evaluated. So access handlers are written by ServiceNow itself. They are modified by them. We don't have any access on that. And whenever they get ignored, only then the ACLs are evaluated. So this is an in-depth topic which I can make a separate video on. So let me know in comments if you want me to make a video on access handlers. I will go ahead and do that because it's a very interesting functionality. Similarly, next we have data filtration. This is also something out of the box ServiceNow has, and it is a form of access control designated to work along with existing ACLs on your instance. After this, what was the execution time of these particular operations by ServiceNow? And finally, the execution ID. So what is the unique execution ID of each of them? One thing which Access Analyzer does is, in the backend, it actually goes and impersonates as able tutor, run all these operations one by one, and only then it gives back the result. So this is how it tries to return the accurate results. So ServiceNow would have written a code where it is impersonating as able tutor, and then it goes and tries to do a report underscore view operation, and it was denied or blocked by this ACL, and that's the reason it wasn't able to access that. Next is, if you see on the top right, we can edit columns or we can reset the widths of these columns. We can apply the filter as well. We can reanalyze. So if I make some changes in the ACLs to test that, I can reanalyze it. I will not have to go back and reevaluate everything. So I can just click on this reanalyze button and I would get the new results. We have export this list into Excel or any other format which we want, and we can download that as well. After this, I will click on one of these operations, for example, report underscore view, which has been blocked. If I click on this, I would be able to see the debug logs of this operation. So here you would see these are the two roles. So either of these two roles are required for any of the user to go ahead and report on the incident table. So ITL role or as an incident read role. And because able tutor didn't had any of these, the role was blocked. And if you see, there are no conditions written on the ACLs or script was written on this ACL, and the ACL wasn't customized also. So if there is any custom ACL as well, it will be mentioned here. And if you want to see what are the ACLs defined or how they are defined, you can click on any of the ACLs which you want to review. For example, I want to review as an incident read ACL. I will click on this and it will open a new tab of the ACL, that how it is defined. So as soon as it loads, you would see here the operation is report underscore view, which is correct. It is on the incident table, and you would see the role required is incident read. Now let's assign as an incident read role to this able tutor and we will reanalyze it. I will go back here in all. I will type sys underscore user dot list. I will search for able tutor. I will type here. I will go into this record, and if I scroll down, I can click on edit and I will search for as an incident underscore read, and I will assign able tutor this role and save this. Now I will go back to the permissions for able tutor in the access analyzer, and here I will reanalyze this. You would see here report underscore view would have been passed, and if I scroll this, you would see report underscore view has been passed. If I click on this, you would see here it has been passed here, and it skipped the next ACL ITIL because it was already granted by as an incident read ACL. So this is how this functionality is so powerful that you would know that able tutor has what kind of roles on the incident table. If I click on overview back, you can go ahead and run more queries on groups or on roles. So if I select group here, you would see this field was changed to group, and you can select any of the groups. Similarly, if I click on role, it will change to role, and you can select any of the role, for example, ITIL, and then you can go ahead and put in more conditions. Let's try with incident quickly. I will show you a quick example, and maybe we will select some random incident number. We will select some random field as well, maybe active, and I can say just a test, and I will click on evaluate access, and here it will show me what permissions does this ITIL role has on the incident table on that particular record on that particular field. So here you would see what all the permissions, so it doesn't have personalized choice and write access to the active field. Other than this, everything is available. And if you see here, it says there is a warning sign here, right? So what does this warning sign mean is there is a script written on this create which it wasn't able to evaluate, or the results might differ. So ServiceNow is not sure what can be the correct answer. Here if I click on one of these ACLs, because both of them have the scripts, we will ensure that there are scripts written under this ACL or not. And if I scroll down at the bottom, you would see there is a script written, and that's the reason why it shows as warning sign here. However, it was passed, but it shows me as a warning sign. So you have to take care of all these things as well. One other thing which I wanted to show you by this example was it also checks the query business rule as well. So if there is a query business rule where you are blocking the access of that particular table or particular record or any particular field, it is also evaluated. If you want to learn more about query business rules in depth, I have created a separate video which has all the details with an example as well. Why do we need query business rules, how they are used, and you can see a demo as well. The link is on the top right corner and in the description as well. So if I scroll down quickly, you would see there is a query business rule written already. In the next section, I would like to show you what was released recently in the Washington release. There are two new features added: compare user records and compare access. And as the name suggests, compare user record, it compares two users. what kind of roles they have or what groups are they part of. So for example, in day-to-day life of ServiceNow admins or any other admins for the fact, you get a request that my teammate or my colleague is able to access this table and is able to edit this. However, I'm not able to do that. I should be able to do that because we are in the same team. To resolve that particular situation, ServiceNow has made our lives easier and introduced this compare user records functionality. And we will see that in ServiceNow now. And then later we will discuss compare access as well. Let's quickly jump to ServiceNow to see this functionality. I'm on my Access Analyzer homepage again, and if you see, these two new tabs have been added recently in the Washington release. And if you are in Washington release, be sure to update your Access Analyzer plugin as well, because it has to be done separately. I will click on compare user records, and here you have to select the two users which you want to compare. I will pick Able Tutor as the first user. And if you remember, we had assigned this user as an incident read role separately. And then I will compare it with ITIL user. So ITIL user obviously has the ITIL role. I will click on compare user records, and quickly I will get the details of these two users. So you can see what's the user ID, email ID, when they were created, are they active or not, and so on. So basically from the user table, you are getting all their fields here. Next is the roles. So if you click on roles, what kind of roles these particular users have. Now if you see app underscore service underscore user, Able Tutor doesn't have that role. However, ITL user does have that. And at the bottom you would see the ITL role. Obviously Able Tutor doesn't has that, and the ITL user obviously has that. You can go ahead and search for more roles if you want to search for some specific roles which that particular user doesn't have, and you want to provide that role to that user because they would want the access to that. You can go ahead and search for that. After this, if I click on groups, so this means what particular groups these users belong to. So if you see here, the ITL user belongs to database, hardware, network, service desk, software, and Able Tutor doesn't belong to any group. We can go ahead and verify that in the Able Tutor's record, and you would see he doesn't belong to any group. So this is how you can compare two user records easily in ServiceNow. Next is compare access. I will go ahead and go back to the home page of Access Analyzer, and I will click on compare user access, and here you would see there are options to select both the users. However, there are other options. Select the table, select the record and the field, which we saw in evaluate access on the first tab. So if you want to compare for a particular table or a particular record or a field between two users, this is how you can do it. I will quickly do it for Able Tutor again, ITL user again, and we will select incident table, and I will click on compare user access, and it will go ahead and evaluate this on the incident table for both of these users, Able Tutor or ITIL. If you note, these are links, you can go ahead and open these user records as well by clicking on them, and this is what was the date executed. So it's today's date and time, and if I scroll down, you would see what operations are available for the incident table and what they have passed for, what they have been blocked for. So you can see they have all of the similar roles. They can read, write, create, report, view, and report on. And there is a small checkbox here to show the differences only. If I check this, it will show me nothing because there is no difference between these two users. And if you remove as an incident read role, the report underscore view role would be gone for this Able Tutor because we had added that manually. I would like to highlight one thing here. The time limited role assignments found for the user due to which results may be impacted. So this is a functionality of time limited role assignments, and if you want to learn about this functionality, please click on the top right corner. And this is the reason, because of this functionality there might be some differences in the roles or in the calculation of these user access roles, because there might be a situation where ITL user was granted admin for some time and you evaluated that, and because of that the roles or the results which came up might differ. So ServiceNow found some role assignments which were already active for Able Tutor or ITL user, and that's the reason it's showing that warning. One other functionality which I would like to show is if you click on Access Analyzer here and click on Access Analyzer Queries, It will show you all the queries which you have ran in past for analyzing the access of any user, role or group. If you see the last two, these are the ones which we ran during this demo, and you can see I have added the short description. So that is why you should always add short description, which will help you in understanding what was done during that time or for whom you were evaluating the access for. So here it says able tutor incident evaluation. So we know we did an evaluation on the incident table for able tutor, and then we did for ITL user. You would see I've done other tests as well in the past. However, there is no short description added, so it will be hard for someone to come and see that why was these evaluations ran and what they exactly did. If I click on compare user access, this was again added in the Washington release, and here you would see what are the compare user access which we ran recently. So we ran for able tutor and ITL user, which we can go ahead and see here. So these are all the features which were released in Vancouver and Washington release of Access Analyzer, and there would be definitely more features added in the upcoming releases. So if you want to keep yourself updated, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit that like button. And finally, thanks for watching the video till the end.